Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Lucia Petrushova, and today I have my dear guest with us, Bill Ware. Bill is a career coach who has been training and coaching men and women in multinational corporations across the globe since 1997, and who has been dedicated to coaching and promoting women in STEM roles since 2019. Hello, Bill, and thank you very much for accepting my invitation.
Hello, Lucia, and I'm really honored to be here. Thank you so much.
I would love to also say that we know each other with Bill since 2005.
Mm.
And Bill was my very first coach I had in my life when I started to work in a corporation. We have similar background. We were working in the field of operational excellence. And I would love to say that Bill is one of the best coach I ever work with. And Bill, you are doing a great job. So I was not surprised when you told me in 2019 that you are starting your own business and you are going to work with the women and helping women to find a new job or to change a career. So for me, I was not surprised at all.
Wow, thank you, Lucia. That's very kind of you to say.
So, Bill, I know many women who would love to change a job, who would love to change a career,
Hmm.
and they are just doing these classical things, right? Go on internet, searching for a new position, job, sending a CV, not receiving any answers, or really receiving answers, which are like, thank you very much for your application, but we decided not to continue
Hmm.
further. So, Bill, tell us, what is the value of hiring a career coach?
Sure. Well, let's start with that. Like you said, 90% or more of the people, their first action is to apply for jobs. But if you think about it statistically, you only have a 1% chance of getting to an interview, which is not very good. Um, so yeah, it's knowing what is the best way. So And by the way, job ads are not it. If you really want to find a job, you want someone to refer you to that job. That's the best way. And I can explain how that's done. But it's 59% of the jobs are done that way. That's how people find the jobs. I'm sure you've experienced that too. And also, most jobs are not advertised. So, yeah. So why hire a career coach? I guess my answer would be is actually there's a process that's very easy to use, which is similar to marketing and sales, but you're the product.
Yeah,
And so that's what
absolutely.
I do is explain that process.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and can you just a little bit explain in a more detail how do you work exactly with the client? So if I would love to find a job,
Hmm.
okay, I will come to you and say, hey, Bill, I'm really at the stage of my life where I don't know if to stay in the company where I am or I should start to find for a job elsewhere.
Right. So there's also, I mean, there's other scenarios, right? I'm in a toxic environment. I'm unsure of the structure. There's some restructuring going on. There's all these different reasons. Um, and the way I work together is actually, and here I can share this on the podcast, is that I give out free coaching calls in the beginning. I don't work with women in the program because a lot of times, and it's strange, not probably great for my business, but a lot of times after one or two calls, a person may say something like, "Well, you know what? I just needed that extra little push, and I'm doing fine, and I'm going the right way." Or, you know what? I realized I just need to calm down and kind of enjoy the time I have now, and then figure out what I want to do. Or even some, maybe realize that life's a little bit messed up and first I should start with therapy. You and I have talked about that. But ideally, the way to start is to have a conversation. And what I do is I have a conversation with the people on the phone. I wouldn't call them clients because they're not clients yet. And we discuss a little bit about what do you want. And because I work with three principles. The first is in your job search, you have to begin with the end in mind, right? Like a GPS, before you can know how to do it or where to go, you have to know your destination. The second one is that I want them to get to open up the possibilities. So I call second principle as limitless opportunities because a lot of my clients have been in the same company for 5, 10, or even 15 or 20 years. And so, as you know, right, in psychology, the more you're in one place, the closer and closer your box comes to you and you're in your nice little. So exploring, looking at that discomfort. But really, the first step is working with the client and deciding, do they want to pursue another job? Because a lot of people say they hate their job, they don't like their job, they're not fulfilled in their job. That's great. I know what you don't want, but what do you want? So I don't engage in the client and put together an agreement until we have a plan and we have an agreement that this is what the person wants.
I understand. I also see that many people, they are lacking the clarity.
Yeah.
And exactly as you said, I think this is really great what you are doing, that they need to first get the clarity what it is that I want to know. And I very much like your example with the GPS. You need to know what's your final destination. But what if someone doesn't know? They just feel, as you said, I'm not happy at my work. Okay, I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
So I use a worksheet, basically 7 stages to define this. And sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's difficult. And I find when it's difficult with the client, maybe there's something else, or, like I said, even I had one, she realized she needed therapy. And so that's what she's working on. And I'm not saying that's the case for everybody, but really it is actually an exercise. It's a practice because most people don't think about this on a daily basis, what they want, right? You and I have discovered that when we start to have clarity in what we want, the rest is just really easy. And so that's where I work with the client. So usually the first step is we have a conversation. We go through some questions like, and we do it in a positive manner and we talk about the present tense. So it's not what I don't want, it's what I want. I want a job that's fulfilled. I want to feel respected. And we go through that process. And then we talk about why are these things important for you? So let's say you have a fulfilled job. What does that give you? What do you get from that? For me, it was always about a lot about financial, but also about what I can provide for my family. So through that, that's how I guided myself. So what I tell my clients is if we can come up with the compass, then the next step is to put together a map, and then we can create a plan.
yeah,
So
this
yeah,
is
we
beautiful.
don't go anywhere and I don't get to engage any clients until we get that. And sometimes people, like I said, they don't need a lot. So 1 or 2 calls and free calls and they're done. Some of them never hear from them again. And some of them, yeah, they're like, hey, I want to go further. I really do want to do this.
Okay, and this is also like an investment for them to really
Yeah.
invest in their future career, in their future life, because this is what it is.
Right. And I want to also see if they're committed, to be honest. And it's a two-way street. I want to see if they're committed, but I also want to show them that I'm offering value and, am I compatible with them? It's not always, I've had conversations where like, this is not going to work. That's not what we said, but you could say, that's how it is. So yeah, that's really is. I want them to be able to trust me, that they know I'm offering value and it's what they want. And at the same time, I want to see from them that, yeah, this is really what I want. I'm committed to do this because there is an investment in looking for a job in terms of your own time.
Yeah. And Bill, you are working with the women, and
Right.
women, 70 to 80% of women are suffering from imposter syndrome.
Mm,
So, can you share what are the main limitations women are really limiting themselves by themselves,
hmm
and it's in a way blocking them from, finding a future job, or because they do not trust in themselves, or they are always creating certain blocking points in their minds. So, what are the main limitations?
Right. And it's all about that exactly limits, right? You're putting limits on yourself. And so that falls under the principle number 2 of, limitless opportunities. So there's 2 elements. I wrote down notes on that question here is that I think first of all, especially women in science, but a lot of women is they are underestimating themselves. Um, and so what I'm working there in the first few milestones of this method is we're working with their goal, we're working with positive, and we're working with their best and their strengths. Nothing by that. And when we start to tell stories about that, that helps them build confidence and helps them realize, yeah, actually, I have achieved a lot. I have a lot to offer, and I am worth this much money, kind of thing. And the other part is they overestimate everyone else. You think everyone else is better than you. And I actually sometimes suffer from this. This is the one, it's not so much my own ability as I just think everyone is so great, and I'm like, oh, wow, I wish I could. And I'm always comparing myself to them. And that does absolutely nothing for me. It does absolutely nothing in terms of helping me move forward. And at worst case, it's limiting myself. So that one I'm always struggling with is comparing myself with others. And the best thing I heard about that is don't compel yourself about others. Just be one of zero. Be unique, be yourself, be authentic. It's scary. You have to expose yourself and be vulnerable, but that's the best.
Mm. So why people are comparing themselves is, and this is also what I'm experiencing in my own practice, is that when people are comparing themselves with everyone else is because they were compared in the past.
Mm,
Yes, like my
interesting.
mother, she always told me when I was studying, I was a child, and she said, and I said, yes, but this and this friend, she's doing this and that. And she said, but I don't care about anybody else. I do
Hmm.
care only about you. So I don't care what they do, how good they are. For me, only you are important.
Hmm.
So, and this I find very beautiful because all energy was directed toward myself.
Hmm.
So that's why I don't have this learned behavior, because this is what it is when we are comparing ourselves with somebody else. I don't have this learned behavior. So because we learned it in the past, we can also unlearn it. We just need to acknowledge that, okay, I'm again comparing myself. I should stop doing that.
Hmm.
And you break the pattern by breaking the pattern.
Hmm. Hmm. And when I engage with clients, sometimes we spend a lot of that time, not necessarily on the job search, but just on how do we break down these limits? How do we show ourselves, who we really are? And sometimes that can take time. And I think that's also the other thing I want to talk about. My approach is I want to be pragmatic and I want to, there's no time limit. Of course, we create a plan because we want to get somewhere by a certain amount of time, but sometimes people after 6 months realize, you know what? We're going in the right direction, but the goal's not the right way. So we'll change. So I had one client go from working for 6 months to now she's in a complete career transition from IT to human rights, and she's doing her master's degree. And we're getting through that. So it can be
Wow.
big too. Big, big. Yeah. I love big dreams. Those are great.
Yeah, and I have to say you are very pragmatic, and this is also what I very much appreciated when you were my coach, because you were extremely pragmatic. And this is very, very important. And I would say it's quite normal when we fine tune on a way our not goal, but maybe the way how we are going to
Hmm.
go there. And I also believe that it's very normal when people on a way change slightly direction, not completely, but slightly, because as they start to work on themselves, it's like they are unlocking their own potential. And this is also what is the value of hiring the coach, that you unlock their own potential. And this is really great. Can you share with us, Bill, your success stories or the success stories of your clients?
Yeah. I had one, I remember this was about June of last year. So this was actually a male client. I do sometimes take on male clients. Um, but yeah, this guy, he was burned out. He had taken a job and he was just like, I can't do this anymore. And he asked me, can I get him a job in 6 months? And I said, well, I can't guarantee anything. That's like telling the gym instructor, can you get me good muscles? It's like, well, there's going to be some effort on your part too and your participation. But I said, yeah, the method works, if you follow it. And so we went through a phase of, first of all, he was exhilarated. He could quit the job and now he was free, to then we hit the valley of despair, which is, am I really going to ever find a job? What am I going to do? How am I going to support my family? Blah, blah, blah. Also limits, he wanted 80% so he could spend more time with the kids, which is a classic thing here in Switzerland. I think is great. But then, is there enough money, and all these, limits he put on himself. And so we went through the process, and yeah, I think it was in January of no, it was sorry, it was about September, October. He got the job, so he found it very easily. What's interesting now is that he's because of the job process and the way it works, it keeps going. It keeps working even after you found a job. So he now has a new offer from another company, which is even like his dream job around the corner from his house and giving him everything he wants. And so he's trying to figure out what to do there. So yeah, the process actually is over successful if you apply it correctly.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, this is very, very interesting. I would also say that people, in a way, they completely change the way how they are. So their being changed, the energy around them change, because I would say that working with the coach, it's like, unfolding, and we find out really like who we are, what works for us, what doesn't work for us. And I would say that we start to be more truth to ourselves in a way how we perceive ourselves, and then really what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So I would also say that this is also one of the great benefits, to not only find the answers to our questions and then to change and to find really the job we are looking for, but there is a certain, I would say, like a behavioral change, and the way how they or how we are changing our daily life, because we cannot be somebody else at work and we cannot be somebody else at home. So
Right.
we really need to be our authentic self at home and also at work. And this is very important for everyone who is trying to find another job or shift or change the career.
Can I tell another story?
Of course.
Yeah, so because you mentioned about change and changing in yourself. This one woman, Ale, we've been working now for over 2 years almost. And I remember when she started, it was, she'd been in the same career for 20 years, the same company for 20 years, and just was fed up and hated the boss. And I remember we had a kind of a meeting lunch, and she was telling me, this is going to go bad and all this, really everything was really bad. And so I said, well, we can change that. We can work through that. And we started to work together. Within 3 months, first of all, everything had gone from negative to now she was courageous and she could drive what she wanted. To 6 months later, she got the organization to pay for a master's. See, she already, remember, 6 months ago, she was afraid of her performance review, and now she's getting them. So by changing herself and her behaviors, she started to actually make changes. Now, the organization itself is so large that you can't change everything. So we're back to the point now is, when do I transition out so I can really dedicate and focus my time? And she's managed it beautifully. I mean, she's gone from ready to quit to I'm going to stick around for another 18 months while I get the rest. Plus, I'm going to get them to pay for it. So yeah, things are working out beautifully when you yourself change too.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for sharing this example, because this is exactly what it is. People who are staying in the same organization and a working environment for 15, 20 years, they are so afraid to change. Even they know it's time to change, because the place become to be toxic. But when we stay for a long time in this environment, we become toxic. So it's very important then to find someone and to be ready to change, because I believe that only positive things can happen after that, when we are ready. But the first thing is, are you really, really ready to change?
Yeah, and it's a mindset shift because, as, as sentient beings, we have this program gene that we do association. So if you believe it's not possible, which is, I mean, you can say it. It's very easy. You say, no, that's not possible, or you can say, yes, that's possible. It's you control your thoughts. But if you say it's not possible, then what you'll do is you'll start making associations with, oh, the economy is bad. There's joblessness is going up. Companies aren't hiring. Everyone's laying off. So all of those will come because that's what now. If you say no, there's opportunities out there, then what you'll start to do is see those opportunities and you start to move. So it's up to you, really. This was again Ali's choice. I told her, I says, it's up to you to make the choice of your own thought. And when she started to do that, then yeah, change starts to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what I'm saying. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yeah,
And it also happened in my life. Once I was ready to work with someone, coach, help, therapist immediately appeared. So then
yeah,
it's really, really very fast. And you know that, okay, I'm ready to change. I'm experiencing the same thing also with my clients who are so ready to change that it's very fast. It's incredibly fast.
yeah,
So yeah, the miracle happens, right?
yeah. But I think that's an important point is that it's, not that the coach is there to help you, is that you want help from the coach. And so, for example, two questions I always ask potential clients is, what do you want help with specifically? And second is, how do you expect me to help you so that we can set the right tone?
Yeah, wonderful, beautiful. So, Bill, what is your advice you would love to give to people, to women who would love to change a job? So, what is
Um,
like the first questions they should ask themselves?
First question, they should start with begin with the end in mind. That was Stephen Covey who said that. So that means you have to know where you're going, and that can be sometimes a struggle. So it's a good thing to talk with others or think it through. But you do that by answering easy questions. So, what do you want? What will it bring you? Why is it important? And how will you know when you got it? If you can
Beautiful.
if you can start 10 minutes, I tell everyone 10 minutes in the morning before the kids wake up or whatever, when you have time alone, 10 minutes writing the answers to those questions every day, like a daily practice. And after a while, your subconscious will start to be creative and maybe even do some problem solving for you. And it's
Yeah.
important to write it down, not just think it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very powerful because also when I need to know something, I just ask myself, just let me know, just show me. And the answer arrive. Usually it's next day or the day after, but it's also the way how we know each other, right?
Hmm.
And I love what you said that have these 10 minutes before your kids wake up, before your husband wake up. Um, and many women they are not doing that. They just said, I'm so busy, etc., etc. I
Yeah.
don't have time for myself, but you have to have 10 minutes. So you wake up earlier,
Hmm.
you take a coffee, tea, whatever, and you spend 10 minutes. It's your time you dedicate to yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Another way you can do this, because writing the idea is to hit the subconscious. That's why we need to do something attached to the brain. But another one, if you're brave enough about this, is you can also speak the answers out. So, what do I want? I want a job that is fulfilling. I want to be respected. If you can speak those out loud, like walking your dog or in front of the mirror, that's also great. That's just as effective, in fact.
yeah, absolutely. So, Bill, tell us how people can contact you, how they can find you. I will put all your details into the description of the podcast, but how they can contact you, if you can share with us.
Sure. Well, they can connect with me on LinkedIn. If they just want to kick the tires, as we say, they can follow and see what I'm talking about. Excuse me. I also have a website that's Aykaza, Aykaza. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word I made up from the name of my dog who passed away in 2019. So that's kind of that. But there you can also, I think there's a link to book a call there. Not I think, I know there's a link to book a call there. But the best is to connect on LinkedIn and let's have a discussion. Let's start a
Okay.
talk.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is beautiful. And in what languages are you working?
Right now, I'm working mainly in English. I have two clients in French, and I would like to get back into Spanish. So I'm, as you
Spanish,
know, I'm
yeah.
half American, half Spanish, even though my accent doesn't seem like it. But yeah, I've also like to do it in Spanish.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, Bill, for a very interesting chat.
Thank you, Lucia. And I just want to say, I also was thinking the same thing when you were telling the story about your mother. I thought, wow, that's so beautiful.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Bill. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And take care.
Bye-bye.